Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Shaka Hislop, Ali Moreno. Yes, you thought he went back to France, but no, he's back again. Frank Leboeuf.
Till the end.
Well, not quite.
Well, according to what I saw with France, till the end.
All right, OK. Well, we'll talk about France a little later on. We also welcome to the show Nadem and a very upset Sebastian Salazar as Mexico have lost 1-0, of course, against Argentina.
2-0.
2-0. I forgot about Fernandez's goal late on. We will talk about Mexico and where it went wrong for them later on, but there's really only one place to start, and that has got to be Lionel Messi, who was the difference today.
He was. In a game that, up until that point, let me just tell you, had it not been a World Cup game, everybody in the studio and everybody watching at home would have turned the channel because he had been awful. The tension and the ambience in the stadium sort of brought the level up, if you will, or the level of interest. But the game itself, the quality simply was not there. And it wasn't there from Argentina. It wasn't there from Mexico, who simply were trying not to lose. As for Lionel Messi, up until that point, the rhetoric would have been, he's walking around, he has been ineffective, he has been inefficient, he's not impacting the game. And then Mexico has a brilliant idea, and that is, let's leave Lionel Messi wide open, top of the 18-yard box, and in a moment of high tension where Argentina needed it the most, Lionel Messi delivers. So whatever the conversation was up until that point, after that, Lionel Messi and Argentina became a different team. You can feel the release of that pressure, the release of that tension, what it meant to him, what it meant to Argentina, what it meant to the fans. Only one team was trying to win this game from there on out, and that was Argentina. Mexico, mommy. And I mean, oh, mommy. Going back to Lionel Messi, what a moment for him, and a moment that was needed. We talk about Lionel Messi and delivering big moments. This is delivering big moments.
It really was. Let's not forget, if Argentina lost this game, they were out. They were going home, Frank. And you could feel that tension building throughout the first half. Terrible opening 45 minutes. And as Ali said, right up until that Messi goal, it was a tense, horrible, ugly affair. But then that goal just changed everything.
It did, and first I want to congratulate the fans, because they put the atmosphere.
Yeah.
They gave the
best atmosphere we'd seen.
Yeah, and the rest, the best energy that you can get out of the fans, and especially for a World Cup final. But the problem, the players, they got carried away the wrong way. So they were trying to give too much energy maybe into it, making stupid fouls. On top of it, when it's all about, when I heard it was an aggressive game, no, it was all about faking, cheating, even lying to the ref. So on top of it, if you put an Italian ref, every time somebody's on the floor and gives a free kick, you have the worst first half of the maybe the entire World Cup history. As you said, I wanted to switch off the TV because I say that's not the kind of football I want to see. Yeah, you can be bad, but at least you try to play. Don't try to fool the entire world with your football and with your stupid pretending stuff. When I remember the captain of Mexico, Cuadrado, pretending that Lautaro Martinez hit him where his foot was like 2 feet away from his face. And I said, come on, you have to stop that. And the ref gave a free kick. Say, that's not the kind of football I like. It's true, exactly that when Messi scored, that was another game. Yeah. Suddenly, players start to think about playing football. And Argentina showed to the world that they were better than Mexico overall.
As Ali said, you could almost see the scripts being written.
Yeah.
Lost against Saudi Arabia. He was anonymous in that game by the penalty. Did nothing until that strike.
I mean, I know, and we'll get to Mexico in a minute, but it seems the only people who did not read that script were Tata Martino and the Mexico squad, because their approach to the game was simply amazing to me in all the wrong ways. But to your point, Lionel Messi picks a ball up in space, sitting in the half spaces in between Mexican line of defense and their midfield. And even so, and as much as we'll criticize Mexico, he picks his ball up, somehow finds space, but is an awfully long way out and has to beat Ochoa with a strike that had to be exact. And it was. And in all honesty, I think the only player on the park who could have done that was Lionel Messi. And it speaks to his brilliance, that you afford him one opportunity, and that's what he produces, and that's all it takes to change the game and dare I say, change Argentina's own prospects around this World Cup. But while we sing Lionel Messi's praises, I think Mexico are due far more criticism.
Naden, what was Seb's reaction as that Messi goal went in?
Oh my goodness gracious me! I was hoping you wouldn't ask that. I think where we're based here, there's a lot of Mexico support. There's a lot of Argentinian support.
I mean, the ESPN Argentina desk is right there.
Literally right there, and there was so much tension. I felt a bit awkward, to be honest, because it was just very, very silent. And then the TVs have got a bit of a delay on them, so all of a sudden somebody up here basically cursed in Spanish, and it's like, well, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And it turned out it was a goal for Argentina, and I think that sort of shows how stressful it was for them, because they didn't even really celebrate. It was like a release of tension, and what he said could have been said by Seb Salazar as well, in the same sort of way in terms of frustration. But it was tough. It was tough watching him. He was kind of hurt, but I think he's probably the best person to explain the emotions that he went through.
You're such a nice guy. You kept doing the "Are you okay?" bit, "Are you okay?" bit, and I was having none of it, Dan. None of it.
A real couple living together.
That's nice. As opposed to Burley, who would have gone. Talk us through it, Seb.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hugely disappointing day for Mexican soccer. The history against Argentina is clear, right? Knock Mexico out in 2006, 2010. I don't think very many Mexico fans came into this tournament thinking that they could beat Argentina. But after you see, what Saudi Arabia did, and you realize what's at stake, Mexico has a chance, a rare opportunity, a chance nobody saw coming to knock Argentina out. And this is Tata Martino's loss. I mean, Tata Martino was brought to Mexico. He's the highest paid coach in Mexican national team history. He's the 6th highest paid coach at this World Cup. He was brought for the big game, not to get him qualified, not to get him through the group phase, to, as Mexican fans always say, trascender, to get us to that next level, to that 5th game. And this is the game that you have to kind of get something out of if that's going to be the case. On top of that, it's the perfect matchup for Tata Martino. There is not a national team that he knows better. There's not a superstar that he knows better than Lionel Messi. And the way he set this team up is incredibly conservative. And also, I think we have to point out something we have never really seen under Tata Martino. There's a few examples here and there of them playing with a line of 5 across the back, but they're in friendly games, and when they did it, it looked horrible. So for him to do that in this game is shocking, and I think the particular decision that I will just never understand, and I know that, I'm the punter here, and I'll fully admit that. You got a guy like Edson Alvarez. Mexico does not have elite players. Chucky Lozano is maybe the closest thing at Napoli, to being an elite player. Edson Alvarez has been linked to Chelsea, to Manchester United. He's a day-in, day-out starter for Ajax. He is, I think it's not even really a question. He is the highest performing player in the Mexican pool. I don't care what tactics you do. How do you put out an 11 and not put in your best player at all in this game? I mean, it's unforgivable for me in that. And even if you can find a tactical reason to not put Edson Alvarez in through the first 45 minutes, your plan, you could say, worked. As you guys said, it was a horrible first half. If that's what Tata Martino wanted to reduce Mexico to, that's his call. Mexican fans don't like it. They want to see Mexico, if you're going to lose going head-to-head with Argentina and let the chips fall where they may. But if you're going to go for the 0-0, then it's 60 minutes. When it's 0-0 and you've held on, I don't know, why don't you bring in the one holding midfielder who's going to continue to break up plays and maybe keep you in a 0-0. You bring Edson on. What happens? No, Tata Martino doesn't go to his bench first. Scaloni does. He makes his 2 changes at 63. At 64, the goal falls. And where does it fall? Oh, that's right. It's a pass right across the back line of Mexico's 4 defenders. And who would be there? That's right, the defensive midfielder. Edson Alvarez would have been there. Instead, Achac is 10 yards behind. Nobody's around Lionel Messi. You can't give any player at the World Cup that much time. You definitely can't give Lionel Messi that kind of time. So for me, it's a tactical failure, and it's just more frustration for Mexican fans under Tata Martino.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's show. Thank you very much.
The end of Mexico's tournament, maybe, but not the show.
Is it just, look, none of those Mexican players get in the Argentina squad today, so isn't that just life? You just don't have the good enough players to
None of the
compete?
Saudi Arabian players got into the Argentina squad either.
Okay.
So I understand Sebastian's frustrations. In all honesty, especially second game of the tournament, after you see what Saudi Arabia do to Argentina, and to Seb's point, it seems as though Tata Martino said, Renat, and I appreciate what you did with Saudi Arabia. I appreciate that you pressed Argentina really high up frustrated them and got your just rewards. But watch this. I'm going to play 5 at the back and sit off. This is how you beat Argentina. It was the most bemusing tactical decision I'd seen at this level of the game in quite some time. You want to sum this game up, you need no more than 30 seconds, and I'm being generous.
I think Seb maybe needs a bit more.
No, Mexico launched the ball down the right channel to Lozano. There is no other green shirt within 30 yards of Lozano. All he can do is try to play for a corner. And he puts it out to play, it goes for a goal kick, ball is kicked long. Messi, the whole complaint is Messi just walks around when things aren't going his way, but he just picks up a little space in between that rather ridiculous back 5 and the midfield, and he's just walking. And Hector Herrera doesn't seem to mind that. He gets drawn to the ball, and Messi, doing exactly as it says on the tin, as he's always done, just picks the ball up in acres of space. This should have come as a surprise to no one. And then you allow Messi that kind of space, and that's what you get. And that was that game summed up in 30 seconds.
The biggest surprise for me, in the context of what Mexico was doing, you also had to add that the fact that Argentina were not playing well. Argentina were having difficulties themselves connecting passes. I didn't quite understand what the role of Guido Rodriguez was in the middle of midfield for Argentina. They have the outside backs pushed up, then the center backs would split or would spread, and then Guido Rodriguez would drop in between the 2 center backs, leaving Rodrigo de Paul to be the only outlet to play into the midfield for him to find outlet somewhere else and transition the team forward. Well, that was playing into the hands of Mexico, who were now pressing the ball, who was having an awful time holding on to the ball. He loses the ball in bad areas. Now it's a time for Mexico to then go on the counter. No, only 2 players. So you're not even taking advantage of some of the decision-making from Scaloni if you're Tata Martino, because you're not willing to take the chance to get forward and actually say to yourself, you know what? We have a chance here. This team is not playing well. This is the team under pressure. They are the ones having a difficult time. There's an opportunity for us to go win this game. Even worse, they go down 1-0 because you've had that defensive posture, and that has been the mindset. You know how difficult it is to then turn around and say, hey guys, now we got to go over there and attack. Now we got to go find a goal. No, the whole time we've been here, this is what we've been working on. This is what is supposed to be the game plan. And now you're asking us, no, change your plans. We're going to go attack. It was never going to happen, and they just simply did not have the tools out on the field, nor the execution or whatever the game plan was, to be able to beat a team like Argentina.
We heard Argentina in the dressing room celebrating way after the final whistle, after all the criticism they received after Saudi Arabia. This was just about getting the result, wasn't it? And it's a massive kind of sigh of relief for them. Is this now a catalyst for them to move forward? Did you see enough in that second half to think this team can go and compete properly? I
still have to wait. I know Lionel Messi said that after the game in the press conference, that the second half was the real beginning for us in our World Cup. So hopefully it's, I would say yes, hopefully it's, they restarted and they're going to show a different kind of football. But I still have doubts about that. When I saw the first half, what they had to offer, when I saw the game against Saudi Arabia, it's to be confirmed. You know, not only 45 minutes would be enough, or 30 minutes even, is enough for me to show that Argentina is back to its best. No, especially against a Mexican team who showed nothing. So I want to see, not maybe the next game, but I guess in the last 16, how they can perform, and or if we back to the 2018 World Cup where they've been awful.
I think most people, Nadim, had them making a run to the semi-finals where they'd lose against Brazil. Is this team capable of doing that, or even indeed making it all the way?
I think that is a good question. I agree with Frank. They've not really shown an incredible amount to this point, but the fact is they're still in with a chance. I think they go into that last game and you do fancy them to be able to get a result. So ultimately, they'll be in the knockout rounds. And even though, you're looking at them thinking they're not at their best, then it's just about matchups and just moments. And it always helps to have somebody like Lionel Messi in your side, because at the end of the day, he's still one of the best players in the world at this moment in time. And the support's definitely going to be there, as we can see from the noise in the stands. Like, that game is so significant, and if they can get into those knockout rounds and have that passion behind them, they'll be a very tough side for people to come up against, and they're not necessarily going to be the protagonist within this particular story, whoever they're playing against. But they'll also be a very, very dangerous side. It seems that if they are to win it, they're not going to blow teams away. But at times you look at them and think, well, maybe they do have enough to be able to just get across the line on a game-to-game basis. And, that's ultimately all they need to be in with a chance. So I see them still continuing to go quite far in this, but they do need to clean things up a little bit. But the fact is, this was a must-win game for them today, and they did that. So in theory, they can give themselves a pat on the back.
Elsewhere in the group, of course, we saw Poland beat Saudi Arabia, meaning that it's very much all to play for in the final round of matches. It will be Mexico against Saudi Arabia and Argentina against Poland. The defending champions, France, beating Denmark by 2-1. Well, Mbappe beating Denmark by 2-1. Sensational performance. Very, very good, Frank.
Yeah, very good. And overall, I love the way that French team plays, the energy, the spirit that they put on. And it's true that when you have somebody who can make that difference, it's a real plus. And but you cannot avoid the other players because the work of, I like what Rabiot does, since the beginning of the World Cup, what he brings offensively. Yeah, he can make mistakes, but who doesn't? But I like the all spirit of that team, the way they play and the way they organize themselves. It wasn't easy today, and when he scored the goal, you say, okay, it's done. The Danes, came back and worked hard, so they showed some personalities. But overall, you always have something great. Griezmann, what a cross, what a very precise cross to Mbappe. Mbappe is Mbappe. He's doing Mbappe. He scored, I think, 14 goals for the national team in 12 games. So that's amazing.
Is he the best player at the tournament? Is it even a debate at the moment? Obviously, we spoke a lot of time about Messi, but he just all his attributes, everything he's got going for him, he just seems head and shoulders about what we've seen.
I think that there are a couple of the Brazilians that would certainly get in the conversation, but after 2 games of the tournament, it's hard to see past Mbappe in all honesty, and given how good he's been, given how good France have been, so far, yes, but. Again, there are Richarlison, Neymar, but they've only had that one game themselves.
I just want to say that
evidence.
Just Fontaine scored 13 goals in 6 games in the same World Cup.
Wow.
It was in 58 when they reached the semi-final.
Wow. God.
Yeah.
You must have been, 25 then? Let's welcome in, shall we?
Already?
Julien Laurent, who was at the game. Look at him, happy. There he was.
Compare Jules to Seb. Compare Jules to Seb. It's so different.
Jules, don't do that. Play the humble French guy. Like we know how to do.
We have many examples of that.
Jules, did you kick Seb when he was down, walking past?
I just asked for the score. I didn't know the Mexico score. I just asked and I saw his face and I was like, okay, don't tell me I know.
Jules, you're looking good, mate. Not you, the game, the match, the team.
Yeah, I have to say tonight was very good against a much better team than Australia. I think we were right not to take too much away from the Australia game because of how bad they are, and they were. But Denmark is a much better team, and the way the French controlled the game for most of it, there was bit of time in the second half where we conceded a goal, and then there was a couple of really good chances, the Lindstrom one especially for Denmark. But overall, it was very much a complete performance. We should have scored more goals. We created a lot. I agree with Frankie, Griezmann in midfield with Rabiot and Tchouaméni. This is working really well for now. It might not work as well against tougher opponents, but for now, it's looking very good. And then when you've got Kylian in this kind of form, he's almost unstoppable. So it was very, very positive. Yeah.
He was really good today, wasn't he? Again.
Yes, he was. And players around him sort of have to change the way they play because of the speed with which Kylian Mbappe plays himself. There was a sequence around the 56th minute where he turns the Danish defender, right? Now he's going with momentum with the defender, with the spacing behind. Giroud, for all the years that he's playing center forward, if this defender steps to Mbappe, now I'm running in behind, diagonal move, and he's playing me in behind. Well, not quite, because if you are anybody playing alongside Mbappe and he's going at a defender with that speed, with that sort of momentum, clear out.
Yeah.
Get out of the way and let him take on defenders. By the moment that Giroud tried to make the running behind, he brought another defender into the play. Mbappe takes a shot on goal, gets deflected for a corner kick. But it was just a reminder of when this guy is playing at full speed with this sort of power, he's unstoppable. The foul in the first half where
Christensen got the yellow card.
Get the yellow card. The momentum that Kylian Mbappe was carrying, nobody was catching him. Now I understand that in the loss of the game, it is a yellow card because there were two defenders around. Those two defenders were there, and that was it.
Yeah,
There were going to be a flash in the screen, and that's it, because Mbappe was going, and there was no chance that they were going to be able to catch him. He right now is playing at a different level, and it's noticeable, and it's scary to watch. But from a French perspective, it's beautiful to watch.
From a football perspective, it's thoroughly entertaining to watch as well.
It is because everything works, perfectly right now. And the sequence you're talking about, Christensen, I say, why the players putting the balls, behind where Mbappe, nobody thinks he can get the ball because he's already, Christensen is like 2 yards in front of me. And it's like you have 4 yards to get the ball, and suddenly you see, fourth gear, and then we go for it. The second gear, we go for it, and that's you say, wow, that guy. I played against very fast players, Thierry Henry, for example, and Nicolas Anelka, so many others, but that guy. How many engines did he put, behind? And that's
it's almost
crazy.
like Brazilian Ronaldo-esque when he was. At
Oh
his
yeah,
that
that's
sort of
something
ability.
like that. Yeah, and
did you ever play against him?
Only once, but I don't remember what happened. But no, the first half when he got something that he got on the left side and gets inside with his right foot and suddenly pretend to shoot and comes back, and you say, wow, he must hurt the defender's back, at some point. Yeah, the player is exceptional when he plays like that.
Earlier in the day, we saw Australia beat Tunisia by 1-0. France then through to the next round. That second spot still very much up for grabs. So then on Sunday, we see the second round of matches in Group E. We'll see Japan take on Costa Rica, but it's all about that big clash, isn't it? Germany looking to bounce back as they take on Spain. Elsewhere, Croatia taking on Canada. What a grudge match this is turning out to be. And it's Belgium against Morocco. We'll, of course, be looking back at all of those matches on the next edition of the show. So be sure to join us. Be sure to check out the latest edition of Extra Time, available on our YouTube channel. We'll end the show with the pictures of Neymar's ankle. I'm not sure if you've seen these guys.
Don't look great.
I imagine you've kind of suffered these injuries before, boys?
Yes, but it was in 1988, so I want to believe that the medicine evolved and they're going to find a better treatment than I had.
Right.
But I still have the pain, like 30-something years after.
Okay. And you were telling us before you've got this big thing to put your leg in.
Yeah, the tension boots.
What does it do?
It helps you to bring your blood circulation, to the heart quicker and easier.
How does it do that?
By compressing your leg.
Oh.
And that's very good.
It's cold compression. No, it's cold compression.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like a big ice pack.
Correct.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not cold.
What do you mean it's not cold?
No, it's not cold. It's
Mine was cold.
compressing.
Mine was cold. Compression.
That's a cryotherapy, different kind of stuff.
So that wasn't it?
Right. I don't have one.
Isn't that to train the ankle to bring the swelling down?
No.
Yeah, this has been a very informative segment. Till tomorrow. Good morning to you.
You're welcome.